I think Nicaragua is a really interesting place to come and study, partially because we are really close to the United States, but secondly because the United States has had a lot to do with Nicaragua, and thirdly, Nicaragua is the second poorest country in the hemisphere. And so for people that go to the university and study, it's very important to understand the world and the disparity between wealthy nations and poor nations, and this is a great place to learn that. The history of Nicaragua is a very unique history. First of all, Nicaragua has the only revolution that took place in this hemisphere with the participation of Christians. Christians actually participated in the overthrow of a dictatorship that was 43 years in power, that was completely supported by the United States, and then they were actively involved in creating a new society within the revolution. So I think that Nicaragua, being the country that it is and having the history that it has, another part of that history is the women's movement. The women's movement in Nicaragua is one of the most dynamic of all of Latin America. So that's a very interesting place to come and study. Students are able to really meet with actors of history, protagonists, people that have been involved in changing the country, people that have been involved in social change. They can read about them and then they can meet them in Nicaragua. I think the other aspect is the living with families. That's a really key part of our program. Students live with poor Nicaraguan families that are struggling with the economic situation, and yet they're very dedicated Nicaraguans that believe that change is possible, that peace is possible through collaboration. And students learn that. They learn it in their textbooks, and then they learn it with their families. And so I think that's a really key part of their lessons, the lessons learned in Nicaragua. And our families, I would say, the families in Nicaragua that they stay with are very special families because they take our students in as if they were their own children. So they watch for them, they care for them, not only do they feed them and care for them, but they really interact with them as if they were a member of their family. One of the things that students develop, and I think they develop it really successfully, is intercultural competence. They learn that they have a lens when they come to a place like Nicaragua. Where they were born and where they grew up is different from the people of Nicaragua, and yet there are some similarities of what people's desires are for peace, for stability, for jobs. Those are similar in the United States and in Nicaragua. But they learned that there are differences, and they learned from the Nicaraguan people that hope is a very significant aspect of living. And I think hope is something that Nicaraguans transmit to our students.